So this is Loserly's Wrestling, the weekly Wrestle 37.
37.
Weekly Wrestle is older than both of us.
It's true. It's been older than the both of us for a couple of weeks now.
Isn't it crazy? Wow.
It's crazy that we've been
doing the weekly wrestle for before we were live. Hassan Terrell is here.
Hassan, jumping right
Hassan,
in.
Thank you so much, Hassan. Hassan just writes simple. Hi there.
Hi there.
Hi there. Hi there to you, Hassan.
Question for you. Sleeveless shirt today? Sleeveless Saturday?
Is it sleeveless Saturday where you're at?
Are you busting out your muscular arms?
Then send pics of your arms to the hotline 201-574-7222 for all arm pics. We want to see them arm guns.
Those arm specific guns.
Arm figurative guns.
You have the right to bear these arms.
These arms.
But
and only
these
those arms.
Yeah. Well, I guess you have the right to bear any arms technically under the Constitution, but we only believe in these arms.
In that this show, it's these arms.
Yeah, showing
these arms. Yeah. Big Papa Pump. Here we go. Freakzilla, Howl at the Moon. Let's go.
Yeah.
Howling
at the moon. Holler if you hear me.
Ooh, I really love Big Papa Pump.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
We have to start talking about things, right? We have to start talking about how are you doing, though? How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm all right. Yeah, I'm okay. It's really humid here, but it's starting to get a little cooler, like low 90s every day rather than low 100s every day. So step in the right direction.
Right direction. That's good.
How are
you? Well, we just had a little heat wave and we got a little bit of rain yesterday. Okay. So it broke it a little bit.
Be careful.
Still humid, but it's not bad.
Can I tell you, I don't know if I should say this on the air, but I will. There was a period of time for all of the LLW fans out there who want to know the history of the two of us. There's a period of time where we weren't speaking.
Yeah.
And I blamed the city of Los Angeles for that specifically. So there was a time in this period of time where we weren't speaking, where there was like a lot of rain in LA. And I was good. I hope it all drowns.
That's very funny. You brought that rain. I remember those rainstorms.
Yeah.
They were right in 2017.
There were also fires. Remember those fires in Malibu?
What have you done, Roy?
I was also I hope it burns the whole city down.
Oh, Jesus Christmas. Roy, your fury. Hey, Roy, I know you don't know much about witchcraft, but basically you did witchcraft.
I've worked hard on my anger. I've gotten places.
Roy's a different person. Woodsy the Beast is in the chat.
Woodsy also wants LA to burn to the ground.
Woodsy the Beast writes, in 3 weeks, there will be more weekly wrestles than WrestleManias.
That's true. We should we're going to have to celebrate Weekly Wrestle 40.
Great job, Woodsy the Beast.
Actually, let me do some math real quick here. Hold on a second. My computer's not functioning the way I want it to right now.
Roy, this is dead air. We're trying to do math. We're doing math on a wrestling program. The 10th? Yeah, what about the 10th?
It's in 3 weeks. So this is 37, 38, 39, 40. In 1 month, we could potentially do the Weekly Wrestle in person.
That's very exciting. That is why not? Let's just do it.
For Weekly Wrestle 41. But it wouldn't be the 40th, it would be the 41st. We're going to have to celebrate Weekly Wrestle 41.
We'll find a baseball player that was 41.
Yeah.
And we'll have it be this is Scooter McGinnis Day.
Yeah, I'm just going to Google famous people 41 and see what comes up.
It's Jake Gyllenhaal, 41 years old.
Oh yeah, famous 41-year-olds. Let's find out.
No,
Justin
we have
Timberlake,
to get to the
41.
show.
Beyonce's 41.
We're off Justin Timberlake.
What about Beyonce?
Oh yeah, totally Beyonce.
Beyonce's 41.
We're off Justin Timberlake.
I love it. Fuck him.
but we have to talk about wrestling, Roy.
Kim Kardashian, 41. Yeah,
Quincy
I'm
the
stalling.
Beast and Hassan did not come here to listen to us rattle off 41-year-olds.
Well, I'm stalling because if I'm being honest, I only got a chance to watch the first segment of Rampage, so I didn't get to see the rest of the show.
No spoilers then?
You tell me. I deserve it. I missed my shot.
Well, just a quick rundown. Let's go to that Rampage slide there. Sammy Guevara beat Darby Allin.
This is what I saw, and I think that's really interesting. And you know what? What was your prediction? Sammy versus Jericho?
Darby versus Jericho.
But I think Sammy versus Danielson is a realistic possibility.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Sammy versus Danielson. Danielson winning, then Punk getting it from him. Punk versus
no,
Danielson
I don't think
sounds...
Punk. No, absolutely not.
Not Punk. MJF.
An MJF Danielson feud, so interesting.
Yeah, very excited about. Yeah,
because I think MJF will spout a bunch of vitriol at Danielson, and Danielson will be like, "What's your deal? I'm just gonna kill you."
And then, but also he'll spit back. Yeah, he'll spit back, and there's so much to work with MJF right now.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
It's just really interesting because MJF always feuds with people who are known for their great mic skills. And I'm not saying Danielson isn't, but like Danielson's a wrestler before he's a talker. Punk is a talker over a wrestler.
Sure.
So it'll be really interesting to see MJF, like, it's not going to be like, ooh, what are they going to say to each other? It's going to be MJF is going to eviscerate him. Danielson's going to be really great and then kill him.
Yeah, I'm very excited. That's a good point. But Sammy Guevara, I'm going to say this, Roy.
Yeah, say it.
I don't mind him doing well as long as he doesn't talk.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind him and Ty making out all the time. I don't mind their thing where that's kind of their thing. They're kind of like, want to let Lita and Edge did it pretty good.
Sure.
And honestly, they could talk. Well, Edge could talk. Yeah. I just think Jericho has to be the mouthpiece completely for Sam. And he's too preoccupied with winning and Ty. And that's what it is. That's his gimmick. He's just like, I'm just want to fuck right after our match. Let's go.
Well, what's funny is like they kind of did that on Wednesday because they cut that whole promo. Sammy might have said something, but for the most part, Jericho talked. And then Jericho said like, right, Sammy? And Sammy was like, what? Don't I look sexy? Which I don't mind. Yes, as long as he's like not paying attention and totally aloof and it's just like, I've got great abs.
No, but he can't even act aloof. He has to say nothing. He has to be so preoccupied. The only time I ever believe him is when he's making out with Ty.
Yeah.
That's nice. But we got that. Then we get a Samoa Joe promo.
I heard about this.
We get a Samoa Joe promo, but his face as he's cutting this promo, which was pretty fun. We get Smart Mark coming out with Josh Woods and Tony Nese.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a match with Josh Woods coming up soon, which is exciting. That's good. I would like Joe to come back to a more high profile thing because we haven't gotten a single one with Joe. Jay Lethal was fine, but we've seen that.
Yeah.
And this Josh Woods thing is just Josh Woods. No offense.
Well, sure.
I want to see him versus like some of the AEW mainstays, or get him in with Claudio, get him with Danielson.
Get him with Dax.
Get him with Dax. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dax should ultimately be like a singles champion, and the Ring of Honor TV title is the perfect title for him, in my opinion.
I think the Ring of Honor Pure.
Sure. That would be interesting
too. That is what I want to see him with, because that is him to a T. Yeah. I want him to have a reign with that, just shaking people's hands and breaking people's arms,
Yeah, absolutely. AEW, like, there's something missing for me personally, where like, well, they do it sometimes. I'm not saying they don't do it, but like, you can get people over with matches.
Yeah.
And Josh Woods is already at a disadvantage because he's with Smart Mark, and Tony.
I want him
is a joke. But if you give Josh Woods 10 to 12 minutes with Samoa Joe, it's going to be a really good match. Josh Woods is a good wrestler, but I hope they do that. I hope they do. And it also helps Joe too.
No, I think that they care more about Josh Woods than they do about Tony Nese. So it's going to be a real match.
I hope so.
But I also get the idea that having him go immediately against Danielson when he hasn't been in the ring for the past, 6 months,
Who?
Joe
going up against Danielson.
Or anyone of note, and then having that dream match, and also him be kind of winded and him be not back up to ring shape yet. Let him get back up to ring shape with a few shorter matches before we get to him versus real feuds.
This is a complicated statement that I'm going to throw out there, and I'm saying this completely removed from everything that's happened in the last week. The real tragedy of CM Punk in AEW is that he never got to wrestle Samoa Joe. One more Punk versus Joe match would have been really nice to see.
I don't think we're done with Punk.
I don't think we are either, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I think we're done. There. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Oh, but that being said, I have a very specific thought on why I think that's most likely going to happen.
Because he's going to go to Ring of Honor?
No, because I feel like... we'll talk about it in a bit. We're going to talk about it. Woodsy the Beast says, exactly, Sheamus got 1,000% over with that Gunther match. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 stars. Dave Meltzer, 5 stars.
It was a great match.
The first WWE 5-star match in like 10 years.
Yeah.
WWE, not NXT. WWE main roster. I'm just saying. I
was just reading like the all the matches that are over 6 stars, over 5 stars.
It's gotten a little crazy.
And it's absolutely nuts that all of them are within the past 10 years. All of them are, for the most part, within the past 10 years. All of them are in Japan, besides maybe 4.
There's a few from AEW.
Yeah, I know. It's just
can I just
so
tell you,
transparent.
My conspiracy theory
as to who. Oh, I can't wait. Is it going to be about the Elite and their relationship with the media?
No, I think my conspiracy theory is that Meltzer gave Kenny versus Okada 6 stars. Genuinely gave it 6 stars. Whenever that was, 4 or 5 years ago. And he saw the outrage from it, and now he thinks it's really funny, and he just keeps giving people 6-star matches.
I'm so angry with it. Troy Fusilier Jr. is here.
Troy Jr.
CM Punk, the best in the world at complaining. Crybaby. Where's Crybaby? We have to have that for CM Punk. You know?
I read, while I'm stalling, while you do that, I read that Meltzer, because he responds to people on Twitter. That's, hey, how'd you get that soundbite of CM Punk? That's weird. The first one wins out. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's enough.
Yeah, keep rolling.
Yeah, keep rolling. But you said that. Very good, Troy. Very good, Troy. Thank you so much. Yeah. Redley 697, bright and early. I know they just woke up. The real tragedy of CM Punk is that he'll never be a manager of Mindy's after that debacle.
I don't know. Their business will probably go up.
Honestly, it's probably good. Brooklyn Bleak says, Brooklyn Bleak, welcome to the chat. And Redley 697, hi, how are you? Bleak says, they did it with Yuta and Garcia. Yeah, they can do it with the matches. Right. Tony Khan will make Joe lose to Punk, though. He loves him some Punk. Yeah, maybe.
Loves some Punk a little too much.
Tony's in the chat.
Tony's
writes,
here.
7-star LLW. Boom!
Yes.
Oh, we love you, Tony.
Yes.
Tony Khan. Brooklyn Bleak says, what matches from WWE in the last years would give you 5 or 6 star level rating? I think he gave one to Adam Cole and something.
Whoa. He's talking about, you're talking about NXT? You're talking about WWE? I mean,
they're both. Maybe?
Yeah, well, he gave NXT. He's given.
I don't think he's. What would I give?
Well, he's asking you, rating? Like, what is of a 5-star quality from the WWE in the last 10 years?
I think Sheamus, Walter,
which was 5 stars.
Dragunov. I feel
Walter Dragunov was 5 stars, but again, that's technically NXT. Main roster only. And this isn't like a challenge. I'm just curious.
Several Daniel Bryans. I'd put up in there. Up there.
You remember that? You remember that 3-way at Royal Rumble many years ago with Brock, Seth Rollins, and John Cena? Pretty good.
It's great. Tony writes, exclusives LLW CM Punk interview. Let's hear it. Let's hear some of it right now.
Hey, CM Punk, what do you think of how you've been treated in AEW? Wow.
That's really good. Troy writes, I'm used to be a CM Punk fan, but this is too much, lol. In the business for himself. Yep.
We'll talk about it.
I have some thoughts, though, that are probably going to be controversial, but we have to talk more about Rampage.
Yeah, let's finish up Rampage.
Miro's here, and Miro gives another promo in the back, and I finally figured it out, Roy.
Yeah.
And I think I'm so into Miro now again. It's unbelievable. His promos where he's talking to God and how he loved God and all the blessings God gave him and made him this. And then all of a sudden he comes back and he's just like, why have you forsaken me, God? Where am I? You take me away from my wife. You make me show up here and you don't care about me. He's God is Tony Khan. And all of his promos where he references God, if you replace with Tony Khan, it's his exact feelings. He's like, you take away the title and give it to lesser men. Like, it's just, that's it.
Yeah.
And now I'm so into it.
He should be TNT champion for like 2 years. He should just run with that.
He should have been in this tournament.
Yeah.
It would have been fun. Next we get Serena Deeb versus Madison Rayne.
How was it?
It was a good match.
Did Deeb win?
Yeah, Deeb won. Tapped. Make her tap. Deeb did a good job. I want her in the BCC soon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Cesaro wants her.
I thought Cesaro wanted Hayter.
He said Deeb. He may have said something else.
No, I think both are great. I don't know. Give me both.
Yeah, give me both. Then we have a Jade and the Baddies interview, and Layla Gray's still there, or whatever her name is. And it was just it was rough.
Did they say anything? Was there any forward momentum coming out of that promo?
Not that I noticed.
Challenging anyone?
It was hard for me to stay in there,
Okay.
Then we had Hobbs. Hobbs give a little moment there, and he said everyone's doubting him. But
all this is backstage. None of this is in the ring.
All backstage. But he made a comment, and I realized he's just like, you're looking at the Monstar with that curled lip, the Monstar.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
He's my dude. That's great. That's a great way of going about it. Go full on. Was it Monster Squad from Space Jam?
Sure.
They were the Monstars.
The Monstars, yeah. He should, I'm telling you, he should beat Wardlow in like 3 minutes. And then Wardlow goes away for a while, and we get these vignettes of like Wardlow rebuilding himself and repackaging himself while Powerhouse runs through the competition for the TNT title.
Yeah, sure. I just want Hobbs to win, and then never. I don't want Wardlow to come back.
Wardlow is
I'm
not that
off
bad.
Wardlow. He's not that bad. It's just that his instincts are wrong.
He needs a repackaging.
But the thing is, he doesn't want a repackaging. He wants to be himself, and what himself is what we're having right now, and it sucks.
He needs to spend more time with Arn Anderson. A Big Show.
He needs to get beaten up. That's what he needs.
The three of them need to have a beach day.
Troy writes, Miro is king. Redley697 says the story of Job would be a great angle for a superstar. Actually, that would be a good angle. That's but the thing is, I guess Miro is proclaiming to be Job. Job, you know the story of Job?
No.
Job, the God made a deal with the devil.
Job,
and he's Job, not Job.
Not that Job. Oh, okay.
No, but the God was talking to the devil, and the devil's just like, this is really from the Bible. They wouldn't believe in you if you didn't give them such nice things. If you took that shit away, they'd hate you. And he's just like, oh, no. See that guy down there, Job? He's one of my most devoted followers. Watch this. Kills his family, takes away his crops, just destroys Job's entire life. And Job keeps praying. He's just like, God, what's going on? He's just like, see? Job believes, ruins this guy's life.
Yeah, they should do that. That's a good idea.
Troy writes, yes, Deeb. We love Deeb. We all love Deeb here. Deeb. You're getting one of these. No, that's for Ding Dong Morrissey. You're getting one of these.
Just give him a star.
That was the wrong one. Here we go. There we go. There we go.
Now we're talking.
Brooklyn Bleak says, lol, that's so funny. Great stuff about Miro. I'll have to watch Rampage after this. It's true. You have to watch it. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
If you look at all of his promos ever when he's referencing God, I did a little deep dive on this. Look at any of them. It all
good
fits with Tony Khan. Good or bad. Because in the beginning when he had the title, it's just like, God has given me so much. Gives me this title. Gives me my money to feed my wife so I can bounce on her breasts or something. Like whatever he says. Troy writes, this is my first time being in a stream in a month. Oh, Troy, we missed you.
We missed you, pal.
I'm confused. I thought it was like a week ago. What? This was the first time being in the stream in a month. I'm confused. I thought it was like a week ago.
Hey, time flies.
Time flies. You know what? Time keeps on slipping.
Oh, yeah. That's good. That's good. That's Seal?
Sure. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You sure it's Seal?
Batman soundtrack.
I hope it's Seal and not the other person I'm thinking of.
But we have to, and then the last match of the night was Claudio versus Dax.
And how was it?
It was very good. Honestly, a smidge of a letdown. because Dax works. Who do you root for? I don't like these kind of like cold ass matches with two baby faces. There has to be more of a story. Like, I don't mind a cold ass match, like a cold ass match. Like, oh, I haven't seen this before. I wasn't thinking about this match. Heel baby face, but heel face. Yeah. You have to have something going in, so I know what's going on and who to root for. Because Dax felt a little neutered because he's never been in this situation before. Yeah, where he is like, I'm a big baby face and I'm facing another baby face. It just like. Yeah, he hasn't had that match.
Probably not. Yeah.
Where he's
at least not this profile.
So it was just interesting, but we get Cesaro winning. Do you want to know how?
Yeah.
Sharpshooter made him tap.
Wow.
Yep. Good match. Good match. But yeah, we have some more comments here before we get to the news. Troy writes, Tony Khan is now Tony Punk, because it sounds like he's trying to marry Punk. And he took his last name. Brooklyn Bleak says that match with FTR on the PPV, everything Wardlow did was some gimmick move spot. Lean back clothesline, powerbomb symphony, F10. He's primed and ready for the big times. No, let's not do that. I think WWE could definitely do something with him, because what he needs is structure.
Yeah.
He needs discipline. He's taking he needs to pay his dues a little bit. I really kind of figure it out.
I don't know.
Find out what works, what doesn't. The AEW crowd is way too forgiving of him right now. Sure. And eventually they're going to turn.
Well, they just like him.
He's Ryback. He's no better than Ryback.
Wow.
Ryback is better.
He's a more athletic Ryback.
Ryback was more fun. I prefer Ryback. Ryback had Feed Me More. He had a real personality to him. He believed in it. And he was different.
He looked different. It's a weird thing, because if you look at Goldberg, if you look at Ryback, they're both they look like brutes. Goldberg, I'm not saying Goldberg is an unattractive man. Ryback's not normal looking. But Wardlow's a little too much of a pretty boy.
Yeah.
He needs to be, and he's
and he has to stop
quite big
milking
enough for
into
that
it.
Singlet. He needs to he should shave his head or something. That's what I'm saying. Go away.
Get
shave
rid of
your
that
head. Change your song. Come back.
Get rid of those fucking tights.
Get rid of the tights.
Hassan writes, hi there, guys. I love you so much,
Hassan. Hi.
Hello.
Everyone better say hi to Hassan right now.
Yeah, say hi.
I want it in the chat. But we have to get to the weekly wrestle, Roy.
We sure do.
It's that time of the day. Weekly wrestle time. I wish I could. Want to know what I need? A real soundboard.
I'm working on that for you.
A real live, so I could pull up the news, dun, 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 news intro. All right, news. First news item of the day. Tim, could you go to that first slide? We all know what it is. CM Punk blows up AEW at All Out. Completely nukes it. That pipe bomb went off in Tony Khan's pants, and everything's a mess. We have at the press conference, the media scrum after the show. By the way, CM Punk won the title from Jon Moxley. In the media scrum afterwards, he's a little beaten up, eating muffins,
drinking spindrifts,
and
calling them
calls
spinnies.
Out.
Idiot.
Did he call them spinnies?
Yeah.
Calls out Hangman Page for being empty-headed. Calls the EVPs dumb. Says they're not in Reseda anymore. Starts talking about Scott Colton, still trying to figure out who that is. And that's Cole Cabana. Going into details about the legal stuff there, and all in front of Tony Khan. All in front of Tony Khan, who Tony Khan looks like he's actively urinating himself that entire time. He's drinking so much water because so much is leaving around his ankles. And then afterwards, after he basically castrated Tony Khan on stage there, walks to the back, goes into his locker room with Ace Steel, Ace Steel's wife, and Larry the dog, and gets confronted by Kenny Omega and the Bucks. There is a brawl, depending on who you ask and how it works. Someone started it and some kept going. Nick Jackson got hit in the face with a chair. Kenny Omega got bit in the face by Ace Steel.
Do we know it's in the face?
Yeah, bit in the face and pulled his hair. You know who was watching all this?
Mega?
MJF and Mega.
Yeah.
the legal counsel for AEW, and MJF, who just returned. Their suspensions have gone out, Roy.
Yeah.
They went out to Kenny, the Bucks, Nakazawa, not Nakazawa.
Yeah, Nakazawa.
I said Nakazawa. And Brandon Cutler, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And who's still not suspended is Ace Steel and CM Punk.
What, they're suspended? Punk's not technically suspended.
No one, neither of those two have been suspended yet. Action has not been taken on those two until the end of legal investigation, because there may be legal ramifications involved
for what they did.
For what any one of them did.
Yeah, but why are the Bucks and Kenny suspended, but they aren't? Because
they're EVPs.
Interesting.
You don't agree with that?
I do. I just have so many. I'm trying to control myself here. I'm trying to contain myself.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about my next point.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that? Just before we get to the aftermath, let's talk about the media scrum and the fight. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, CM Punk's a joke. He's a fucking joke. He's a joke of a human being. And look, I mean, am I biased? Yes, I am. Because as you get older, we're not quite as old as the Weekly Wrestle, but we're older, and you start to really think about the things that are important to you in life. And look, this is just professional wrestling, sure, and I have no skin in this game per se, but everything, you look at anything, whether it's involved like directly in your life or not, and you think about your life and how it relates to your life, and you just start to think about like the people that you should keep around you, the people who are going to build you up, the people who are going to take care of you, and the people who are going to represent you in your life well. CM Punk is the exact opposite of all of that. He doesn't care about the other wrestlers in the back. He doesn't care about the company, clearly, because of the way he's talking. He's trying to do business. There was one point in the press conference or whatever where he said, I'm trying to run a business. Are you trying to run a business? It's not your business to run. So what are you trying to run? It's not. And all of this stuff with Colt Cabana, clearly, it's obvious, and it's come out now, and like there's speculation or whatever. Nothing's really said. And this isn't... You and I aren't exactly like, this isn't high-class journalism. This is essentially a comedy YouTube show that we're doing about wrestling. So I can say whatever I want and not worry about it. I was waiting for the fart noise to come.
No, I was trying to find this one. Why are you yelling at
me? But like, he so obviously came into that fucking thing with an agenda. And it was so obvious that he was going to say what he was going to say, no matter what the situation was. He knew he was going to pick on that guy. He was going to ask about Cabana. He was going to ask about improv. He was going to call this guy out for being friends with him and all of that. And when the guy was like, actually, I'm not friends with him, he didn't know what to do. So he just kept talking shit. And it's a shame because I've gone back and, done my own digging into the history and all of that. And like, say what you will about the Young Bucks, and I don't know a lot about like them other than the persona that they've created for themselves, for their fans to see. So obviously I think they're good people because of what I've seen. But like, there would be no AEW without them. And other people, and Cody, and Kenny, and Hangman, and whatever. But all that they did at the launch of the company to get the company going and to figure all of this out, to have that all potentially get thrown away because of this fucking jerk off, like, it's a bummer. It's a drag. But that being said, do I want to see CM Punk on TV again? Yeah, why not? But should he ever be in the title picture again? No. Should he ever be in a position where he can speak publicly for the company? No. He should be like Brock. Brock doesn't speak for the WWE. He shows up, he does his thing, and he goes the fuck home. And he should stop pretending to try to be a locker room leader. He's not. It's come out that he's been rubbing a lot of people the wrong way for a long time. He has these like old school edicts and ideas about the wrestling business. He brings them into the locker room, and if a wrestler doesn't agree with it and doesn't take his feedback, he's like, he pouts and gets mad about it. It's bad for the locker room. He's bad for the overall morale of a company.
I have some thoughts on this, and they may differ a little bit, but they're in the same realm. But before we get there, let's go to the second piece of news that is directly relating to this. Next slide there, Tam. The EVPs are suspended, as we mentioned. They have been suspended. The titles have been vacated. So the championship, the AEW championship, and the trios title have been vacated. And just a quick side note that I thought was interesting. And the women's title is an interim title. There are no real champions at the top of the company right now.
Not well. Yes, I mean the trios titles. That's a real champion.
Oh, no, I'm talking about
triangle or the actual
main two,
yeah.
the AEW heavyweight and the women's championship. There's
a couple of weeks,
but you know what I'm saying. That's interesting.
Yeah,
but the titles have been vacated. We have the Death Triangle won the trios title this past Wednesday, and there's a tournament to decide who's going to win the
which is the right call.
Yeah, right call. We had a backstage meeting in the back with Chris Jericho, Brian Danielson, excuse me, and Jon Moxley leading the charge. And
right people.
Right people, because one of what I was thinking about, these three people are the locker room leaders, and also they represent everything that the other wrestlers should be. Now, I don't speak very fondly about Chris Jericho as a person, but as a professional, on point. He's always there. He's always there. He helps others, and he's always he's never getting in trouble. You know, like he's making sure. We have Brian Danielson. While Chris Jericho is so in love with the business part of wrestling, in love with the business. Brian Danielson in love with the art of pro wrestling. Yeah, but always there again, super clean, good example. Maybe also, a little bit of a bully, but we like that.
But the thing is that's what they said. Like again, like what I've read is that like he has a general like positive and funny demeanor backstage. Like he'll bust your chops, like he'll give you shit, but it's meant to be in like a fun like jokey way,
and he does it only against big people. So
yeah, and the only shit he ever
Big
gives
Show
to,
and Mark Henry.
The only shit he ever really gives to like wrestlers, like people like who have blogs, and like he hates like phones and the internet and social media, which is great.
Yeah,
shit all over everybody.
And Jon Moxley, just because like Jon Moxley is someone who owns his mistakes and gets better from them greatly. All did a great job.
He's a fucking workhorse. And he shows up and gives everything he has to every single time he's out there. And he's just himself. He's never trying to be anything he's not. That's the other thing. And that's the sad thing about this. And I mentioned this before in the Discord, and I have to bring this up. I'm a big fan of the podcast Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling. And Marty DeRosa, who is one of the people who loves wrestling, he's a comedian in Chicago, and he's best friends with Colt and has been best friends with Colt Cabana for a long time. So he also used to be really good friends with Punk. And he does a really good job of never talking about any of this stuff on the podcast, but I think he finally broke this week because of all of the things that Punk said about Cabana. And like he indirectly, I don't think it was his goal, but like kind of exposed how fake CM Punk is. Like this public persona that he has is just not true. Like all of the times when he was not wrestling, all of the times that he would say like, I haven't watched wrestling once. I never watched wrestling. Fuck wrestling. Complete lies. DeRosa, like I'm just saying, like he is trying to be something that is not who he really is. Like CM Punk doesn't believe in therapy. He doesn't believe in it. He doesn't believe in taking care of himself in that way. So how can you be a leader to other people? Like he should never be a locker room.
Did he say he doesn't believe in therapy?
He has said that before. Yes.
Therapy for himself or therapy in general?
Both. You know, he doesn't believe that stuff works. He doesn't believe that it's like of a benefit to you, you know? So it's just like one of those things where it's like clearly he needs to take care of himself before he can worry about other people, but he won't do that. So people like Moxley, people like Danielson, people like Jericho are the right people that should be leading this locker room.
And I would like to say though, I am not trying to defend.
I also don't believe in therapy.
I do not believe. No, but CM Punk, not a good leader, not the person to be looking up to in this. I think though, to keep that in mind, I don't think the Young Bucks and Kenny are either. And let me just preface this with the fact that I think, and one of what we don't hear a lot about as much right now, but what we're hearing about a lot earlier this year, how the EVPs were kind of dicks. There's a little bit of that where they're kind of like the infighting and
with each other,
but also there's a really interesting point to be made about who their best friends are. And their best friends tend to be wrestling journalists.
What?
Kenny Omega and the Bucks, they feed a lot of information to the dirt sheets. They feed a lot of information.
I don't believe
and
that.
I think I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people in the back do.
You.
I believe that yes, they are just like like they've done their entire lives. That's how they've gotten over, is being manipulate the media towards their benefit. They're making fun, people making fun of them for using super kicks all the time. They create super kick party, and they start doing like they love to troll, but they also love to manipulate.
Their finishing move is called the Meltzer driver.
The whole thing being the elite is like the whole show is just like a kind of way to control their image out there. And people like it because it's like tongue in cheek, but they really are friends with Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer loves them, and not just Dave Meltzer. I feel a lot of this stuff about CM Punk, and specific. I think CM Punk. I've said this before about to you. CM Punk. I don't know if he's a great guy. I've told you that before. One who else I don't think is a good guy? Kenny Omega. I don't trust Kenny Omega. I think Kenny Omega. I think he's more than a weirdo. I think he's sneaky. I think he's a sneaky guy. And I think he's also like a pretty underhanded. And I think there's going to be more of that to come out. I think as more people leave, there are some people that are in Punk's camp that you don't hear from them. Like the Malachi Blacks.
He's in Punk's camp?
Oh, yeah, they train together all the time. I think Cody Rhodes left for a reason. Not just the fact that he was getting the opportunities in AEW that he wanted. He didn't want to be a gatekeeper. But I think the infighting was kind of them kind of pushing him away.
I don't think that's true. That's fine.
Because I think he wants him and Punk, whether it's right or wrong, and some others, they want their view of wrestling. And I think Omega and the Elite want their view of wrestling.
Sure.
I think Tony is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And he is constantly being pulled. But the thing is, I think that there's a lot of backstage politics that we have not yet heard come to light that a lot of people are rumbling about. And I think that the locker room, it's split. There's people who are best friends with the Bucks and best friends with the Elite, and they're just like, fuck this guy for putting the poison in the locker room. And then there's some guys that are just like, I would love to speak up, but I'm afraid of getting buried.
Interesting.
That's my take. I say this not to give Punk any credence. I'm just trying to say that
sure.
I think there's a lot of, I think what Punk did to Colt Cabana is inexcusable. Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue I have.
Sure. Me too.
Him calling out Hangman for his promo. Not too mad about that. Him calling out the Hangman for saying that he doesn't listen, he doesn't take advice. That's a stupid thing for a leader to say.
And also he didn't even actually hear the interview. I went back and I listened to the interview, and he didn't say, I don't take advice. He didn't say that. That never happened. He could have handled it better, don't get me wrong, but it was a question that was clearly off the cuff. He wasn't ready for an answer, and he just basically was like, oh, yeah, I talk to them sometimes, but mostly I'm kind of on my own, and I kind of just do my own thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think this is also a reflection of what happens in the back. I feel like
sure.
I feel like a lot of the old timers aren't listened to for good and bad reasons, and I feel like they're more of a sympathy project for Tony rather than actual coaches.
You mean like Big Show, Mark Henry, like sympathy project, like these guys?
No offense to that, but like I think they have a lot to offer. I don't even know what
Big Show does. Like, what does Big Show even do?
Big Show or Mark Henry does. Mark Henry I think does some producing,
and he does some on-screen stuff at least.
Yeah, I think Big
Show's never even on TV anymore.
But I just feel that there's a lot more to this than we're able to read yet.
Yeah, look, I don't think anyone is completely innocent here. I don't.
Except for Colt Cabana. Well, actually, we don't even know about Colt.
No, Colt's completely innocent.
In the long run, I don't know. He may have made mistakes, but the bitterness that CM Punk brought is not acceptable. Drop it. It's dead. Yeah. Fuck all. But
the mistakes that Cabana made, he made 4 to 5 years ago. He hasn't made any mistakes recently because he hasn't been around to make mistakes.
He's just trying to live a life.
Because he hasn't been invited to TV tapings in a long time.
Just want to live.
Yeah, and like, again, listening to this podcast that I listened to yesterday, the Marty and Sarah podcast, Marty DeRosa goes out of his way to say that Cabana was really upset by all of this years ago, but worked hard to move on from it and has moved on from it. So why are we going backwards? Like, why is this even a thing? My feeling is, who's really good friends with Dave Meltzer? Like, really long time, good personal friends with Meltzer and Brian Alvarez? Jericho. So, like, everybody's friends with these guys, first of all. Second of all, go. What do you got?
I'm going to say that Jericho probably, I think Jericho also, I think a lot of wrestlers who have these close relationships, Ric Flair, Jericho, the Bucks, Kenny, they've all used it to their benefit in the past, the fact that they're friends with these people, because like Meltzer will stick up for
Jim
this person.
Cornette.
Yeah, Jim Cornette.
Up until recently. Jim Cornette was, I literally fell asleep one night watching YouTube and woke up to a Smoky Mountain Wrestling show on YouTube with special commentary from Jim Cornette and Dave Meltzer sitting next to each other.
So they used to be buds. They used to be buds. But the thing is, like, I think that they've used their relationship for specific reasons. I think the Bucks or Kenny or both or have used it to kind of be a little political. And I've heard word about this, that they kind of use it to like, because there's a lot of Cody flack coming out in the earlier this year. And I don't know if anyone has a bad word to say about Cody. The Bucks
have bad words to say about Cody.
I don't think they do.
I don't think it's
I think
bad.
everyone in the AEW locker room loved him besides the Bucks and Kenny.
Look, I don't know if that's true. I don't know, whatever. But what I'm saying is a few things. One, and I'm not, I recognize as I say this, like, it's kind of stupid, but like, Sean Ross Sapp, Meltzer, Alvarez, all these guys have gone out of their way to say that the Young Bucks and Kenny never gave them any of this information. It didn't come from them. But of course, right, of course. However, to add on to that, I will say, if you go back and read the sheets from the launch of AEW into 2022, there is very, very little insider information. Because no one was ever talking. No one ever leaked anything. All throughout the pandemic, no one ever leaked anything. One thing got leaked, and it was that Eric Bischoff was going to be on the show at some point. But I'm saying, like, why are they suddenly talking now if they weren't talking for 2.5 years?
I'm not talking about leaks. Leaks are known things that are, but like, like awkwardness in the locker room. People were weirded out about this promo. Like it's more the rumors that get pushed out. Because leaks are different. Leaks are just like, you could pinpoint where a leak's coming from. You're like, oh, someone who knew about Eric Bischoff. These 5 people. But like, oh, the temperature in the locker room is getting real different since blah blah blah. That's the stuff that they're being fed, is just locker room temperatures. I don't think that
benefits them though. How would that benefit the Young Bucks if they were to say that the locker room that they're technically one of the people in charge of is like not good right now? How does that benefit them?
Because if it's who's the catalyst, like, if you're saying like, Punk's rubbing people the wrong way in the locker room, and you start spreading that as kind of like a rumor, like,
but what's that going to do for you?
What's that going to do for the Bucks? Yeah. They don't like Punk.
Yeah, but he's not going anywhere.
I mean,
now he might because of all of this.
I think Punk, because he's an asshole that overexert, like that thinks everyone wants to hear him, probably went up to them, maybe in his brain, good spirits, went up to them and just like, hey, some of the things you're doing in your matches, you guys are whatever, but like, I would do this differently, or I do this differently. And want to what the thing is, they don't like being told, and that's been true.
Sure,
we've heard that from like Jim Ross has made mention of it a bunch of times. Arn Anderson's made mention of, like, in passing, just the fact that they don't like advice.
Well, here's the thing about that. Like, let's talk about that for a second, because, like, look, if I was a wrestler and Arn Anderson came up to me, of course I'd listen. I have respect for Arn Anderson, and I'm not saying that the Bucks don't necessarily like politely listen and then not take it, but if I'm the Young Bucks, maybe I don't take their advice. Because I don't know if you look, but I know that you don't necessarily agree with their style. I get that. So like, that's where we differ. But ultimately, like, I like that style of professional wrestling, and a lot of their matches tell cohesive stories, and they're both really good professional wrestlers who can tell stories with their bodies. They don't necessarily want or need to change their style because it's what's worked for them.
Nobody's saying change your style. It's everyone should be able to take advice. Everyone can get better. And if you're not listening to listening to any, you're not taking it, because the thing is, I could say this about the Young Bucks. Kenny may be different because he's back and I haven't seen him wrestle too much, but the Bucks, their game is exactly the same. They're just as athletic as when they started, but their matches are exactly the same for the most part too. Like, there's no new elements to their game besides a heel or face turn. Like, the thing is, like, they're not trying to get better. They're not. It doesn't seem like they're trying to stay as same as possible. And
I understand that.
And I don't.
I'm not saying I understand that from their perspective. I understand what you're saying.
And so, the thing that's we have so many comments to get through, Roy. Let's get into some of them.
We're in it here.
The Troy writes the tights.
They
Troy
changed
writes,
their tights.
Troy writes, hello, Hassan. I'm so happy.
Nice.
Hassan says, cool. Hassan says the Buffalo, New York was good. That was a good show.
It was a good show.
Troy writes, CM Punk deserves the Divas title. Come on, Troy. You're being silly. Come on now. Brooklyn Bleak says, if anybody deserves the non-compete for the WHC title like Cody was, is Punk. The World Heavyweight Championship. Like Cody couldn't fight for it. Punk should.
Yeah.
Tony
you
writes,
get injured twice, you're cut.
Tony says CM Puke is done. Brooklyn says if he wants to stay in AEW, let that be a storyline. I agree. I think CM Punk should stay at AEW. I wouldn't mind him having the championship again. And I think if he comes back, you better bury it and you better have a feud with them.
You got to make money out of
this. Storyline.
Yes, 100%. CM Punk Hangman needs to happen, and Hangman needs to win.
CM Punk Hangman, CM Punk Omega, CM Punk the Bucks, CM Punk and FTR versus the Elite. I want all of that. That's a storyline just there. Just like when CM Punk does come back, if he comes back, just being like, not only even dodging, look at you. You guys you have three. The FTR holding 3 different belts right now, and you won't give them a shot. There's just that angle you could do.
That's smart.
Brooklyn Bleak says, so CM Punk is living and getting confused in his character in Warrior, the way Warrior did.
Feels that way.
Tony says, we will all find out more on this being the Elite. Just tune in, lol. Brooklyn Bleak says, like Warrior did. Also, do you think Eddie Kingston complimented Reigns and his wrestling is his way of priming a transition to WWE? Supposedly the Young Bucks are also doing that too. I don't think Eddie Kingston is priming himself for WWE.
No, but I do think he could get a run in the WWE with Triple H running it. I do.
Yeah, I think him and the Bucks could. I think that Eddie Kingston will have a hard time just because of his reputation.
Yeah.
He pie faced Sammy Guevara the other day.
Well, I don't think Triple H cares about that. If you lived through the
Attitude
Era and he lived through Bradshaw, I think it's possible.
I think he wants real placated people back there. He doesn't want to stir the boat.
It's possible. But he's also he's like a true there's this tweet that I saw that had a series of clips from being the Elite from when the company first launched. And about all the fun things and the cool things that were happening, not just with the Bucks, but in general, all the different stuff. And there's that clip from the Brody Lee tribute show, the being the Elite behind the scenes of the Brody Lee tribute show, where the whole locker room is gathered around Eddie Kingston, and he's giving a speech to the whole locker room, and everybody claps and hugs him, and he is could be, if used correctly backstage, a crucial part to the chemistry of your locker room, because people will listen to him. Because the thing too, it's that's a whole rabbit hole. Never mind. Let's keep going. What are the other comments?
Brooklyn Bleak says, Woodsy says, Mark Henry's there, so I know when the Rampage main event is. That's smart. Brooklyn Bleak says, Colt has been doing international promotion for AEW. He has, but we really do have to move on from this topic.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I want to complain about. Do you have it in your news that the Bucks put out feelers to the WWE? I don't know if that's true. There's so many rumors right now. There's so many insane rumors that it's hard to keep up. Half the company has asked for their release, according to Twitter. No one has asked for their release.
Well, Bobby Fish and Malachi Black, we'll get to that soon.
Yeah, but Thunder Rosa, they were saying she asked for a release, which she didn't.
Yeah.
But the Bucks putting out feelers to the WWE, I kind of believe that's true. Yeah. They had a lot of conversations with Triple H before the launch of AEW, and I think it's it's kind of partially also to scare Tony Khan.
That's 100% what it's for. Yeah, I agree with that.
Here's my theory. Why would the head of legal for AEW and the Jacksonville Jaguars just happen to be there? I believe that Punk went to his locker room, closed the door, the Bucks and Kenny showed up with her to be like, hey, something could go down here, and I want you to be here just in case. And I think MJF was also there, which I think he went there to be like, why'd you call me a prick? You're an asshole. What are you talking about? I get it. Thanks for doing that, but whatever. So I think she happened to be there because the Bucks and Kenny were like, we're going to see Punk. You don't have to come, but just so you know, something might go down, so you should probably show up.
I think it's more of this was a 6-minute fight and that people just started coming over.
Well, I think apparently she saw the whole thing. According to multiple sources, she saw the whole thing. I don't know. But if she saw the whole thing, why is there an independent investigation around it?
I think they always have to do that stuff, corporate shit.
Because I think someone screamed, "I'm going to sue you."
Yeah. But that's that. But you know who else came back? Who came back this past week?
Who?
MJF.
Oh, so good.
Next slide there, Tam. MJF and Samoa Joe made their returns at All Out, and we're happy to have them back. Perfect timing.
MJF's killing it right now on social media. Hilarious. He posted a picture of himself and Peter Rosenberg, and he's like, best wrestling journalist in the business right here.
Love that shit. I posted a pic of MJF and Samoa Joe together for when MJF was an extra on NXT.
He had another good one. Keep looking. I want to find it.
But that's about it. That's just it. We're excited to have them back. Next slide there, Tam.
Wait.
You know who's on their way out? You're going to show.
Wait, real quick.
You could go to that next slide, Tam. No worries.
So there's a wrestling resource, like a journalism, Ringside News, and they're always telling lies and they're always bashing AEW. And he tweeted, with everything going on in the world, it's nice to know we have real and neutral journalists hard at work over at Ringside News.
I love that.
So good.
That was really fun.
So funny.
I love MJF. I think MJF is great, and I'm excited to have him back. But you know who's on the way out? Malachi Black and Bobby Fish. And it's before Bobby Fish ever got to beat the shit out of CM Punk, which is sad.
Which is really kind of a shame.
Because Bobby Fish really wants to. More than anyone in the world, Bobby Fish does. But Malachi Black and Bobby Fish, I'm guessing Malachi's going back to WWE.
I don't think Malachi's doing anything for a long time.
I mean, he might take a break, but I do think he's going to WWE.
He has 4 more years on his contract. If you're an AEW, are you really just going to let him out of that completely? I think he's got to. Apparently, the release is with a lot of conditions. So I think what's probably going to happen, he probably can't go anywhere for 6 months to a year, and then after that, I'm sure Tony Khan will attempt to reach out to him, try to get him to come back, re-engage, see how he's doing. Because apparently there was some mental health or some sort of health issues that he needed to attend to as well. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why he wanted out of his contract, because he needed to potentially take an extended hiatus away from wrestling. So
I can tell you this much though: Tony Khan, sad to see Malachi go, happy as hell to see Bobby Fish go. I think Bobby Fish drove him crazy in the back, just like, hey, why won't you let me kick this guy in the dick backstage? And then Bobby Fish is just honestly
Bobby Fish is
closest thing to Scott Steiner if he was a librarian would be Bobby Fish.
Bobby Fish is so good. He also all of his comments recently on his podcasts are hilarious. He hates CM Punk, and it's so funny.
It's really funny.
Although he Fish did kind of do Punk dirty. Just remember, they fought each other, and then Punk hit him, I think, with the go to sleep, and then Bobby Fish basically kicked out at 3.1 and kind of made Punk look shitty. But and he called out Punk. It was interesting because he called out Punk for stealing the go to sleep from Kenta and not changing the name of it. And then Kenta was like, got that right. Fuck him.
He didn't change the name of it, huh?
It's called the go to sleep. Yeah, Kenta called it the go to sleep in Japan.
That's real fucked up.
Yeah, yeah, no shit.
I didn't know it was called that. Yeah. That's real fucked up. That's interesting.
Yeah, you don't do that in wrestling. You just don't do that. Mr. Old School, Mr. lives by the old school credo. That's one of the top rules. Don't steal someone's gimmick, and that's what he did.
That's interesting. I did not know that. We're just the trios tag team titles lost to 3 major teams this week. Bobby Fish is gone, so Undisputed Era is gone. The Elite is suspended and House of Black is dismantled.
You got to put a third guy in House of Black because those 2 guys are great together. You just got to find a third guy.
Who do you put right now?
Put Darby Allin. Darby Allin. Turn him heel. Who gives a shit? What are you doing with him? He's just losing all the time. Put him with House of Black, or turn them babyface and put Darby.
I don't know if
you
could turn. You can't turn him heel though.
You can. Well, then turn the other 2.
Face.
Turn them babyface with Sting.
Yeah, with Sting. Yeah, I agree. I take that for before. Woodsy B says, "Who cares about MJF? I'm scared the Usos are going to betray their cousin Sami Zayn." Honestly, it's that's real fun. Have you seen the Sami Zayn part of the Bloodline?
I see him do stuff on Twitter where anytime anybody posts anything, he always writes "Oh, good shit, Oos" and things like that, which is so good.
Tony writes, "Man, I miss Scott Steiner. We all do." Yeah. Brooklyn Bleak says, "Has to be pure sarcasm." I'm not sure what you mean by that.
I think the ringside news tweet.
Fair.
MJF. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's probably. Now we are going to the injury report of AEW. We're still in AEW land because every single next slide there, Tim. Every single AEW show has at least one injury. You can't get past it. At least one. It feels it. Every week there's an injury. Every week for the past. I think if I go back in my news, at least 8 weeks straight.
People have been hurt. A lot of people have been hurt.
8 weeks straight at AEW. At AEW.
I'm not denying it.
At AEW. But these are the people that are injured. CM Punk, either in the match or in the brawl.
It was
afterwards.
in the match.
It's a triceps
I like to
injury.
think that he kind of hurt it in the match and then punched Matt Jackson in the face and it tore completely. That's what
I am happy he punched Matt Jackson in the face.
I like Matt Jackson.
But we have Ruby getting kneed in the face, dropped on her head earlier in the match, and kneed in her face.
Yeah.
That's honestly like Ty needs to go back to school.
Sure. You make one mistake, fine, but two, that's tough.
She's been doing this a little bit now.
Yeah.
It's been getting a little rough, and Ruby doesn't deserve that. And Reynolds also hurt his ankle, but it shouldn't be out too long. But
he should be
they're
fine.
not even using him anyway, so maybe they will. Who knows?
Who knows?
And also forgot Christian. The reason why he wasn't able to have a long match with Jungle Boy and why it was short.
Same injury, right?
Same injury as Punk. So, yikes. Months.
Yeah. Feud with Judge Luchasaurus.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah. But there's that. Next slide there, Tam. We're gonna go over to WWE, Roy. WWE.
Go.
You know, did you know that Triple H has just been announced as the chief content officer? Chief content officer. And we're just so happy to have him around.
Do we know what that means?
All the content, he rules over with an iron fist.
So hopefully that means that they're actually going to produce more original content for Peacock and the network, and they put out better like documentaries and retrospectives and like give me stuff about Jim Crockett, give me old stuff, bring it back. The reason you launched this network is to have this huge video library, and you're not using it. Use it. Do you want
to know what happened this week in WW Helmsley? It's so now Solo Sikoa is brought up to the bloodline, which is good. Smart. Good. He's a great wrestler. Braun Strowman returns, which is fine. I'm not whatever about it. I don't hate Braun Strowman.
He's fine. He's better than all the other giants they got.
Yeah. And he's funny. He's funny when he wrestles. 24/7 title is up in the air right now.
Is it?
Because it hasn't been it hasn't been on TV in a while. It's only being used for live events.
Who's the champion?
I think
Dana Brooke.
Dana Brooke. And so it's just like maybe it's time to go away. I think that was a Vince
McMahon
project.
For live events. It should only be for live events.
Make it fun for the live events. I agree with that. And also which is really interesting. I think you're going to dig. Triple H started talking about plans for a World Cup style tournament.
Interesting.
Which is really cool because they do have they do recruit from a lot of different places.
Sure.
And honestly, I don't think they're terribly not open to working with AEW. I did read a report this week that Tony Khan's unsure about that from how they've been treating him recently.
Right, which is so funny because he's like, I won't get into it. All right, don't.
But it's it seems like they're. I'm excited for that.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, TNA used to do it every year.
Yeah,
and it was great. It was interesting. It was really interesting. And you can get 4 or 5 guys from AAA. You can get 4 or 5 guys from like Germany, or 4 or 5 guys from England. You can do different stuff. I think it's fun.
And honestly, you get 8 guys from each continent, and you have them have a tournament in their continent. Then bring them over here.
Yeah.
And then you have all that footage.
Sure.
All that footage. But which is very interesting. Very interesting stuff. We have some comments here. Brooklyn Bleak says, "Yeah, the martial arts stuff happened in WWE, right? He was all baggy gym shorts in the indies. I remember Punk talking about his BJJ training. So is that a complete lie? No, I think
he trained. I mean,
he's just not
fought in the UFC.
But as Bobby Fish said, he's just like, he's not a martial artist. If you're an artist, you have no blue. You can't paint with blue. What are you gonna do? Not make a sky? He's not an artist.
I don't remember that. That's funny. Yeah.
It's fun.
I mean, the guys, whatever Punk's done, fought in the UFC, etc. I mean, Bobby Fish is like 70 years old and has been doing karate and jiu-jitsu and martial arts or whatever since he was like 7. So
he's probably like a year younger than Punk.
That's actually a good question. I know Bobby Fish is in his 40s.
Brooklyn Bleak says Triple H as Kratos from God of War is funny on multiple reasons. That's the picture I have for Triple H, is him as God of War, as Kratos. And Woodsy DB says, give me a doc on Kerry Von Erich difficulties wrestling with 1 foot. You're going to get that very soon. Oh, a doc. Yeah, probably not WWE.
Bobby Fish 2 years older than CM Punk.
Oh, really?
He's 45. Punk's 43.
Interesting. But moving on. Speaking of WWE in Europe, next slide there, Tam. Braun Breaker has unified the WUK, NXT UK title and the NXT title, officially putting an end basically to the NXT UK title. But
everything.
No, but there's plans of, and which is smart, because I've never liked the idea of NXT UK. I enjoyed it, but it's just like UK is pretty fucking small. And it's basically like just having and no offense to Smoyes out there. We love you, Smoyes. But the UK is just not big enough to have a real touring company. They're going to do NXT Europe, which is smarter. You get a bigger swath of wrestlers. You go on tour with better crowds, hotter crowds, which is what I want.
Yeah.
Because I hate watching. I don't like watching shows in the same building every time.
Yeah, neither do I. That's why I have a hard time with NXT for that reason. I just don't understand, like, if that's your plan for NXT Europe, why did you release all of these people? Like, what's the plan there?
They kept the ones they wanted, and they're going to have a more broad European spectrum of talent.
Yeah, okay.
All of them are from the UK.
Yeah, okay. That's
you
fine.
know?
Yeah,
Get some Russians in there. Get some freaking Yugoslavs.
Ilya Dragunov. You know, whatever. Yeah, I don't really care. It's one of those things that, like, whenever this happens, I'll watch it. But until then, I'm not like, ooh, give me more NXT Europe updates. You know?
That's fair. Well, maybe you'll want to dive into
don't call it NXT
one.
Europe. Call it something else.
Well, that's the tentative name. But it's that's a code name.
W.
EAU. Yeah. It's in the game. But we have, but this is something you could really sink your teeth into.
Oh.
Next slide there, Town. You know the Velveteen Dream.
Oh, no.
He's in the news because the Velveteen Dream started a hashtag a couple weeks ago. Did you see it? Bring the dream back. Triple H wants the dream. Stuff like that. You know what this guy got in trouble for? You ever go to the gym, Roy?
Yeah.
You ever go to the? We go to we're meatheads. We go to the gym and we're just pumping iron. And someone's just like, I need to clean this section. And then you get up and you say to them, I'm going to kill you if you try to push me away out of here. I'm trying to work out. We've all done this. And then they're like, I'm going to call the police. And then you bite their chest super hard. And then the cops come and then you resist arrest. It all happens to the best of us.
It happens to the best of us. You know, and that's funny too, because like that happens to me at least once a week. And then the other day, you know, I was having a party at my apartment, you know. And this guy walked out of the bathroom and he said, hey, what's this camera doing in here? You trying to film me while I pee? And I said, oh, doesn't everybody do that?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, I heard that. My buddy, EC3, who's actually kind of being a dick recently because he's like, oh, Velveteen Dream left the camera in the bathroom. He's trying to film everyone at the party taking piss. And then I called him out on it and he got really upset, weird about it. Fuck EC3.
Yeah, okay? Ridiculous.
Fuck you for saying that shit. So we should bring back the Dream. Velveteen Dream. We just got to bring that kid back. Got star written all over him.
Yeah.
Let's look at those texts.
Do we get any texts?
No, I'm saying Velveteen Dream's text.
Oh, yeah. Let's see those texts, Velveteen.
No, we'd go to jail if we look at his texts because they're bad, evil.
Yeah.
Next slide there, Tam. We're going to go over to Japan, Roy. We're going to go over to Japan because a legend is retiring.
Oh, yeah.
The Great Muta plans on retiring from the ring in 2023. I will say that as a Loser Leaves Wrestling news correspondent for the past over 2 years, this is the third time I'm announcing his retirement.
Yeah, that's true.
He has said it in 2020, 2021, and now 2023.
Well, he's waiting for the fans to come back.
Yeah, they've been back, dude. But I will say this though, Roy.
Yeah.
If Conrad wants to do a last Muta in America, you know, your last match in America, that would be a great one.
Muta versus Sting. Make it happen.
Yeah, I think that would actually be pretty good. They could both probably go.
Muta and Kenta versus Sting and Darby Allin.
Love it. I love that. Jessic is in the chat. Hello.
Hey.
Hello there.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Okay.
Tony writes, lol. Lol at you, Tony. Lol at you. But he's been 4 decades in the wrestling biz.
Yeah.
And I like Muda a lot. Would you have a favorite Muda memory?
Muda's fantastic. I love Muda. Favorite Muda memory? Well, I remember when I was little, very little, I was 8 or 9, and I was sneaking watching wrestling because my parents didn't want me to watch it. My brother would bring home VHS tapes, and this is the 90s. And I remember I should have been asleep, but I was pretending to be asleep, and I was actually watching Great American Bash '89, which was Sting and Muda. So I have a fond memory of that. And I remember being really, really excited when he came to WCW in '99. But it ended up that he was just with the Insane Clown Posse. So I didn't love that. Him, Vampiro, and the Insane Clown Posse. The Dark Carnival. And yeah, I mean, Muda's the man. Muda's the best. I mean, he saved All Japan Pro Wrestling in the early 2000s when everyone left that company after Giant Baba died. He saved that company. He saved New Japan as well when he first became a wrestler.
And the best missed and best handspring elbow.
Yeah, 100%.
Most consistent handspring elbow. And he stopped doing it when it stopped looking good.
Yeah, 100%. Smart guy.
And we're at the last piece of news. This is the discussion piece for the day, Roy.
Yeah.
We have the AEW video game coming out.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a while. Next slide, that last slide there, Tim. And which is also a glitch in WWE 2K20, which is very fun. But there are some omissions from the roster that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Which are pretty sad. I'm going to go down the list from people I care least about to the people I care most about. Here's some blatant omissions. Jake Hager. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Private Party.
That is sad.
A little sad. I feel bad for them, but I don't feel bad for myself because I'm not going to play. I wouldn't play them anyway.
Yeah. Sure.
Evil Uno. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but I would hold off on that. I think he might make an appearance.
Well, as a downloadable content, but I'm talking about initial release.
Yeah,
he's not going to be in it. But what's good about Evil Uno, very easy to make and create a wrestler. Mask guys, super easy to make.
Sure.
The Acclaimed.
Yeah, that's shocking.
The Acclaimed aren't in there. They're their second hottest tag team act. And let's not forget about their first hot tag team act, FTR.
Yeah.
They made it all the way to the design phase and then they were cut.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Well, I just wonder if they will do a downloadable pack of tag teams with Private Party, FTR, and the Acclaimed. And then I also wonder on top of that if they'll do a Dark Order downloadable pack with Brody Lee, Evil Uno, Reynolds, and Silver. Although I don't know, Brody Lee, Reynolds, and Silver might be in the game already.
I think Brody Lee is in the game.
Yeah. So
I think Brody Lee, Cody. I'm trying to think of all the.
I'm excited. I'm happy that
wrestlers.
Cody's in the game. I'm happy that Cody's
good.
in the game. He deserves it.
Tony says they will have a DLC. It's all planned. It's all planned. Come on, Red. Think money. They're gonna have
money, baby.
They bring in people once a month. They have plenty to download, and also think of all the past stars that you could put on a DLC. I want my main guys on the initial roster in the game.
Sure.
I think that's only fair.
Sure.
We've been spoiled by WWE long enough where you have to give us. You have
There's
to
still
give
going to
us
be 50 people in the game.
I could almost understand FTR because by the time they were finalizing these things back in February, March, FTR wasn't really a thing as they are now. But Acclaimed, I'm shocked.
Acclaimed too.
Acclaimed have been, I guess that's true. But
tag team DLC. I'm excited for it.
But that's
Cesaro,
the end.
Claudio will probably be a downloadable guy.
Sure.
The Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, William Regal. I want that.
Yuta,
You're gonna have an
Regal.
old school Regal.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
great.
what I want. Old school Regal, old school Arn, old school Sting,
old school Tully,
Jake, old school Tully,
old school Taz, old school Dean Malenko.
If they make Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone playable characters, I'm gonna cream myself.
Yeah. Old school Jerry Lynn, which doesn't sound that exciting, but I think that's cool.
Dean Malenko.
Old school Jerry Lynn, Dean
this
Malenko.
is exciting. Yeah. Very exciting.
Mix all those guys up with Owen Hart and Brody Lee.
I could guarantee one person's not going to be in the game. Old school Excalibur. That's not making it. R.I.P. But that's the end of the news. That's the end of the news. Well, we have one more second.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I think, this week, I haven't heard anything official. But with Triple H taking over the WWE, I think it's officially time to start talking about the first fatality, the first casualty of the wrestling wars. They had a good run. They did their best, but Control Your Narrative is probably dead. Now that Braun Strowman's gone, officially.
R.I.P.
Control Your Narrative, CYN. See you later.
The stupidest wrestling promotion that they had a name that did not match the content. Who's controlling what? Why does anyone want to see a show called Control Your Narrative? That is just the worst marketing. RIP to actually an LLW legend. Roy?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if they're actually dead.
I think I'm going to change my Hall of Fame right now.
Are you inducting
maybe
EC3?
No. I know who my can we talk about the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to the Hall of Fame. You go first.
I think we're probably gonna have the same one.
No, we're gonna have different people.
This person, and this is out last week's too. Last week's and this week's for me.
Yeah.
Stood up, took charge, grabbed the bull by the horns, led it into the courtyard.
The courtyard.
Gave it some water, helped it drink because it's hurt.
Because it needs to grow.
It needs to grow. Then it put it down. What? Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley killed the bull by the horns. And Jon Moxley just did a great job this week. Came back from vacation. He was supposed to go on vacation. Didn't even go on vacation. Probably bless him. Bless his work. Yeah. He's done a great job. That is my go-to. What about yourself, Roy?
You're going to hate this. But
I can't wait to.
Look, here's the thing.
Can't wait to hate.
Sometimes you got to induct someone into the Hall of Fame for their legacy, not for what they did in the past week.
God damn it. What are we doing?
Sometimes you got to take a step back and you got to think what kind of impact has this person had not only on the professional wrestling business, but on the life of the person who's choosing this person, myself. And I think back to my own wrestling fandom, and I think about this person, and I think about all that they've done for me as a wrestling fan, all the new wrestlers they've introduced me to, all of the new wrestling promotions they've introduced me to. And I think about all that they've done for the business itself, whether it was starting a T-shirt company that allows the wrestlers to get paid better, or being the first ever wrestler to have a wrestling podcast, first person to ever do that, and giving that podcast, giving wrestlers, independent wrestlers, the platform to get their names out there. And it's because of this podcast that I learned who Kevin Steen was, who the Young Bucks were, who all of these guys that are all super famous now weren't at the time. I learned who all of these people were through that, and all that he's given back to the company, to wrestling and all of this, from everything that I've heard, at least. And I have an extra special appreciation for this person, as should you, in a way, because he thinks of wrestling the way we think of comedy. He wants to include all of these comedic influences into his profession, into the thing that he loves, which is professional wrestling. And we want to include all of the things that we love, which is professional wrestling, into our comedy. So for this week's introduction, I'm inducting Colt Cabana into the LLW Weekly Hall of Fame for all of the reasons that I just stated. And he's a good wrestler, too, on top of that. Good guy.
Excellent choice, Roy. Excellent choice. And I really think that this is a good class that we have today.
We do.
September 10th. The Loser Leaves Wrestling Hall of Fame class of September 10th, 2022 is Colt Cabana and Jon Moxley. That's the game, Roy.
That's the game.
That's the game. And we're out. We're about out of time. We're about out of time. And
we got any comments before we wrap up?
What fun we had today, Roy.
Yeah.
What fun.
Great time.
No comments. Well, Tony writes, Roy, you in the CM Punk doghouse now, brother. No, this is the CM Punk doghouse.
Yeah. The CM Punk doghouse is just having to listen to him whine, complain.
Where's my Wario? Thank you all so much for joining us. So please check out our show Woos and What's of AEW Dynamite, following Dynamite immediately after AEW Dynamite every Wednesday. And check out all the things. Check out our all the Loser Leaves Wrestling on podcasts everywhere, right?
Oh, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, right?
Everywhere. Go check it out. Listen to the most recent one. Watch our videos. We got some special stuff coming your way. When? I don't know, but it's coming.
Tony writes, CM Punk's gonna ban you on Twitter, Roy. Everyone have a great night. Do you have anything to say before we scrattle?
Go back and listen to old episodes of The Art of Wrestling.
Go listen to old Miro promos and hear him as Tony Khan and as God.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. Have a great one. Bye.
Hey, get that squirrel off my dick. Hey, get that squirrel. Hey, get that squirrel off my dick. He knows he's not allowed to come on my dick.